we go. Took a little longer this time. I hope that's not a bad sign. Hi, everyone. Welcome to SupConnect's weekly Instagram Live. I'm Kiristen Thomas, and I get to do this. I get to connect you, that's what SupConnect is all about, with wonderful people in the paddling world. We share that love of water. Hey, I see my paddling friend Arvin is on, straight out of Aliso Viejo. Always fun to see. Again, those of you who come back and listen to this, my sound is a little bit weird. Okay. But also great to have those of you who've never been before. So thanks for joining us. It's been a couple years of these. There's still all kinds of great people out there to talk to. And today we're going all the way to the Cayman Islands. So hopefully we'll have a great reception. Remember that although these are live and we're thrilled you're here and you can ask questions or tell us where you're from, they also get recorded. So you can find them immediately on SupConnect's IGTV, and then they will be on SupConnect's YouTube within a day or two, as well as mine, KT Outside. So Kiristen, almost the same as my name, but a really cool, different. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. I think we've connected maybe originally because of Paddle Fit, but she's doing all kinds of things with SUP. She's an instructor, not just of the basics, but also fitness and yoga in an absolutely gorgeous place. So one of the things I kind of miss that we can't do here is show video and pictures, because she's got just a ton of them. So excited to talk to her. I tried inviting her on. I hope, again, when we're doing things from far away, sometimes it's feels like a little bit of a risk. Can we get Kiristen on? Request to join? Yes. Accept. And hopefully she will pop on. Still have the little white dot. How is everyone doing today? We have, it's July, but we still have what we call coastally in Southern California June gloom or May gray, but it's well into July and it is still foggy in the afternoon, which I don't know. The grass is always greener, right? Could be super hot. Is it foggy in Aliso Viejo, Arvin? Let's see. I lost her. No requests. I'm just waiting for her beautiful smiling face to pop on at any moment. Kiristen, if you're having trouble, sometimes your Instagram has to be updated, is one of the issues. This should work either through your phone or Wi-Fi. Got Gary, partly sunny in Aliso Viejo. Hello, Suncoast Aquatics. Where are you located? Somewhere sunny? Ah. Okay, let's try it again. I'm trying to get you. She has a wonderful little mermaid emoji. And she's in those mermaid waters. It worked.
Hi there.
How are you? It's great to see you.
I'm amazing. You know, it's a beautiful day in the Cayman Islands. I'm back home from an awesome paddle. Hey, Erin, one of my followers just jumped on.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing to be back. And as soon as I came back, I was at work at 7 o'clock in the morning. The next day, full classes for the week. And it's just been a dream. So great to be able to paddle the Rockies and then come home to a place that's also just as beautiful.
Well, we'll talk more about that Canada trip. That looked absolutely gorgeous. I was just saying that one of the things, the only thing I regret in this nice little format is that we can't share pictures and video that much, but we do have a Facebook group if you want to share anything about your travels. But hopefully you guys just need to follow her. So go look at It's Kiristen. Also, your company, you have an Instagram, so we'll mention those a couple times and make sure people can follow you. Yeah. So what is your water story? Did you, I know we're going to have to talk about how you made a big, giant move. You're originally from the U.S., but living in the Cayman Islands for, 7 or 8 years?
And I just see some old friends from the U.S. Just popped on. One of my friends from Orlando, I see you. My paddle story started probably in about, I'd say 2008, 2009. I was living in Orlando, Florida. Now, I'm originally from Virginia. And, you know, we were kind of an outdoorsy family, but not really. But I became like super, super outdoorsy when I moved to Orlando, and that's where I started paddling. And I was instantly hooked. You know, you just have a friend that says, "Hey, we have a Groupon." I don't even know if that's still a thing, but no idea. It was that long ago, and I went paddleboarding, and it just blew my mind. I'm like, "What is this? I have to get involved." And then from there, I go down to Jupiter, and I did one of the very first paddle fit certifications with Brody Welty and John Denny. And I've been a paddle fit instructor now, legacy coach for those guys. It's been over 10 years. It's been a very long time. But yeah, from Orlando, I actually was at that time working in the mortgage business. And I was, you know, pushing papers around. And on the side, I was doing super fun marketing jobs like Monster Energy drink. I used to drive the big truck around like UCF and stuff. It was pretty hilarious. And you're just passing out, you know, drinks, and that was like something I would do for fun along with working retail. So I had to have my job that filled me up like with exchanging energy with people versus, you know, when you're at a desk, just, you know. So from there, I made a trip down to the Cayman Islands, and I got hooked. I came down probably about 4 or 5 times. It's just so easy to get there from you go to Tampa, and it's an hour and 20, maybe hour 45 to get down, and from there you're like on a boat party or you're on the water. It's incredible. And yeah, I was like, you know, I need to do this. So that was fast forwarding to, I've been here since 2012. And I came down and started running a kite, surf, paddle, wake shop called Waterman. And from there, I started the paddleboarding program which involved intro to paddle. We started our full moon community paddles. And you know what? Like, I really wanted to get the community thing going was because I went to Dana Point and I paddled with Rob Rojas, who you know as well. Good friend, and he comes to Cayman all the time. We need you back, Rob, by the way.
Okay.
And the energy just in the parking lot alone, I was blown away by that energy. It was just like electric, you know? And I'm like, we need that here. We really, really need that here. So that was something I wanted to do myself. And then I started, you know, meeting other paddlers just through the intro to paddle and just showing people, hey, this is something that everybody can do. And I kept paddling. I kept teaching paddle fit. That became super popular. At the same time, my yoga practice had just started to go. And I'm like, I have got to share this. So through the shop, I was going to Surf Expo in Orlando, which we've seen each other there before as well. And I saw a girl or woman named Dashima. She was doing paddleboard yoga. And I was like, holy crap, what is this? And it was, you know, the very beginnings of like Boga Yoga and those brands coming up, Sup Love and all of that. And I was like, I got to get involved with this. So I went and I got certified for yoga in Jamaica. I did a 200-hour intensive over a few weeks. I don't recommend that for everyone because it's a lot. It's very exhausting. And I came back and I dove right in the next day. I grabbed some girlfriends and I said, okay, this is what we're going to be doing. And I practiced the anchoring systems and all of that stuff. And I was teaching paddleboard yoga. Yeah, it just kind of happened. And I started my company and I left the surf shop around that time in 2016. And I'm here, still just doing it. Yeah, it's great.
So it's Vitamin C Cayman,
Vitamin
SEA,
C, yes.
the C. That's a great name. So, and you also have an
Thank
Instagram
you.
for that too. Well, your energy is amazing. So, like you said, though, there's an exchange of it, and you pick that up early. It's very happy to hear the parking lot that I still spend a lot of time in, have the whole 14
What a
years.
time over there you guys are having. I still am following everybody over there, and I'm like, oh, I got to get back over there and paddle with you guys because it's a really cool spot. Everybody's awesome.
But I think we all feel that about so many different places, and I want to go where you are. I mean, I look at those pictures of different color of water. I love Maya from Spain, and we've got people from all over the world who pop in here.
I see a friend that was in Singapore just popped in. Hello, hello. My friends from Canada are coming. It's great.
is fantastic. Yeah. So international. You've definitely been quite a few places, both just to enjoy and in the role of teaching and all of all these different things. And you've stacked up quite a list of certifications behind your name. We should talk about the
Yeah.
different ones. You mentioned paddle fit being in there right from the beginning. I took a paddle fit class too. What a great, really niche that they found with the fitness, but also I see that you've got safety certifications, which I think is so important to
Yeah.
anybody doing anything on the water. You do need to be able to rescue yourself and others, especially if you're teaching. And I see you have, CPR and first aid and all that. So good for you for going that direction and taking those extra steps. I think that's fantastic. So talk to us about how the next step. So you got good start in the surf shop. You've already mentioned that you have some other water sports under your belt that you love too, but back to SUP and vitamin C came in. So you're teaching SUP yoga, SUP fitness, introduction.
Intro to paddle, technique training, like through that paddle fit system, that was definitely my foundation. And when I do these long distance paddles with some of my clients, for example, I always go back and say, I would not be this strong without that foundation. So thank you, Brody and team, for creating that system, because it shaped who I am as a paddler, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's definitely a good time.
You teach, you certify others in that. Is that what makes you legacy, or is it because you were in from the very beginning?
Absolutely, both. So from the very beginning, and also if, there's a call, hey, Kirsten, we need you to go to this space and run a clinic, I will do that for them. It's been a while since I've done one. My last one was in Lake Como, Italy, with Jodelle. What a place. If you know me, some of my friends are popping on. They know I love to go to the mountains, and this time was just no different. Like just going onto that lake and looking up, and you're just like, you just feel so tiny. Mother Nature is insane. So being able to go and certify the first group of international coaches over there with Jodelle was next level. It was really interesting.
Yeah. Oh, that's very cool. I was going to ask some of the places you've been, but Lake Como, you guys need to, if you're at your computer, like listening to this on your phone, pull up a map, because where she is right now, I kind of had to Google exactly where the Cayman Islands are. That looks amazing. I mean, you're surrounded by so many amazing
I'm next to Jamaica, under Cuba. That kind of helps people figure it. We're Western Caribbean. Usually people think of St. Thomas, which is a great, great spot, but we're way, way, way far west.
Yeah. So almost like over to Mexico and the Yucatan and Belize and, in every direction you have, your place is amazing. So are you on Grand Cayman, the main island?
Yes, I'm on the main one, Grand Cayman, and there's 3 islands. We've got 2 sister islands, Little Cayman and Cayman Brac, which is the rockier, one where people love to go for hikes, and they go for rock climbing and stuff too.
Yeah, well, that's cool that you have the mountains. And then Lake Como that she mentioned is northern Italy. So it's not always the first thing you think of with Italy. Italy has so many cool places, but it's up in the mountains, in the Alps,
it's really up there. It's just south of Switzerland. So cross the border if you need to.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. So it sounds like your travel to teach has been with paddle fit mostly.
Yeah. And then I was also given the opportunity to work alongside the team of Wanderlust. So that was in 2019, I believe, and then they shut down during the pandemic, obviously. But Wanderlust was insane, and I'm so sad that they're not having those 4-day festivals anymore, because I got to
come back. Do you think?
Oh, please come back.
Yeah,
if you're watching Wanderlust, your girl, she's waiting. I need to teach some classes. That's another place. The energy of that festival was awesome. It was really, really cool. And being able to meet all the girls that I followed on Instagram, we're now super tight. We're great friends. And, we're doing these overnights. We're working so hard. We're blowing up 50 boards along with Jeremy Vane. He was like the only guy. And we just had so much fun. And that was probably my last time I traveled for SUP that was professional. Personally, obviously, I was gone a couple of days ago.
That's part of, I think, who we are. As much as we love where we get to paddle, and you're in an incredible spot, Where's the other water? Where's the next water? Where are we going to go? But yeah, just before we leave, that Wanderlust sounds like it would be so popular right now. We had so many people during the pandemic find the outdoors and are looking for that kind of thing. So I wonder what's happening.
Yeah.
They should totally
they've got to bring it back. The last one I did was in Squaw Valley, near Tahoe. What a time. What a place. That's another beautiful place surrounded by mountains. And we were in the Olympic Village doing the classes on the lake there. It was really rad.
Super fun. So you've named a couple of places, but while we're on travel, what are some other destinations you've been to, whether teaching or just for your own travels that you
just a few days ago, your girl was on Lake Louise, just living her best life at sunrise. That was a paddle that I've wanted to do for many, many years, and I rented a camper van and started just ripping across Alberta, and I camped the night before just so I could get there early. My van came with a paddleboard, and I just blew up like in the dark. The sun's rising, and you see the sun like turning the glacier orange, and like my mind was just blown. And the water was 12 degrees Celsius. And I just got in there, and my knees were shaking because I'm like, oh my God, this is just so beautiful. And the silence that you get when you're in the mountains, I cannot describe to you. It's really special. And that was such a great paddle. And I got to paddle a couple more lakes, but I think that was one of the most special ones because it's just the one you see all over and that you want to just try. Yeah. And that was really, really a beautiful, beautiful time. And then previously, I see Chad just jumped on, so I'll give him a hi. I was just with him, and Yaz, I think, is on this as well right now. We were just in Saskatoon paddling the South Saskatchewan River for KCPO. That was 100 kilometers. We did that over 3 days, and we camped for 2 nights. Longest paddle of my life, but amazing. It was life-changing for sure. And that was all in the name of mental health. If you guys know what Chad does, please go check that out because it's very special.
That's great. Congratulations to you and what a great cause. So which one is Chad? What's his
one's on Tina. I think he's still on here. But you've had him on the show before.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember his Instagram just to tell people to follow. And yeah, go see the pictures that she just described. Amazing from the Rockies. And of course, then
so good.
I'm always amazed by the different colors of water. And that's certainly a contrast, although Lake Louise has a really special kind of green. But we were talking about altitude waters, that a lot of people who are used to ocean, do sea level is where a lot of the world paddles, but it's really cool to get up into the mountains and to paddle at altitude.
It really is, and it's just a different body of water. And I explain that to my clients, like even if we're doing yoga, we're paddling the ocean, if you're used to paddling a river, a lake, whatever, it's also different and it moves so differently. You've got ground swells when you're in the ocean, you've got wind that's going to affect the swell a different way, and if you're on flat water, it's just going to maybe just push you across the lake. Where we're in the sea, we have a little bit more concerns that we need to be worried about.
Yeah. And so back to where you paddle, it's a kiteboard spot, which means you do have wind. So I'm sure that is like one of the things you do is constantly checking the weather.
Yes, actually last night, the Cayman Islands weather radar just came back on. We were sitting there just so excited that the water people that were around me were rejoicing because this radar helps us determine where we're paddling, where we're kiting, if we're going to surf. Maybe there's surf on 7 Mile Beach that day. And it also determines what boards we're going to select. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but as you just mentioned, it's really huge for any type of paddling anywhere, knowing water, understanding water, and knowing your abilities and knowing the conditions. So the conditions.
1,000%. Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of good apps. Do you have any advice? Well, it sounds like you have a specific radar. Do you have any apps or anything that you tell your clients to use?
One that is universal. It's a website. I think they have an app. It's the Wind Guru. It's wonderful. I know when I log on originally, it's always in Maui. So I definitely know it's around. And windy is another one that we use for the wind direction. And that's the one we really rely on when we want to do downwinder, for sure.
Yeah,
Because that
we use
tells
that.
us if it's going to push us across the North Sound or not.
Those are good things to know. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how about someplace you haven't traveled? You've mentioned you love mountains. You obviously love islands. You've been quite a few really cool places, but anything really high on your list?
Okay, high on my list, I want to paddle Horseshoe Bend in Grand Canyon, like before the water levels get too low, because I'm reading what's going on over there and it bums me out, but it's making me want to just get over there a little faster. I also want to go down to Nosara, Costa Rica, and do a surf camp because those waves look amazing. And Iceland. I know it's a rare spot. It's freezing. I just was freezing, but I just think it'll be a beautiful place to paddle. So yeah, those are the
Yeah.
next spots on my radar. And you know what? Lake Tahoe, the actual lake with the big rocks, I haven't gotten to paddle that yet.
Okay. You got to get over to that
Yeah,
corner. Yeah.
not
You
yet.
will.
It's coming. Look out for me, guys.
Tahoe is absolutely beautiful. And I think Iceland's really special. I love the whole geothermal activity and the idea that
Yeah,
even though you're in this colder country and looking at glaciers, you can get in a hot springs.
exactly.
We do that on the Colorado and absolutely love it. So really, really special. Well, I know you work with a brand now and have worked with some great brands through the years. So talk about some of the boards you've used and types of boards and equipment that's worked for you now and maybe even the past too.
Well, I mean, you can see behind me on my wall. My house is literally a board shop. If you know me, I've got at least six boards in my house at all times for paddle. But above me, I've got my Bark via Surf Tech Ghost Vapor Carbon board. That's 12.6 by 26. I use that for distance. If we do have a paddleboard race, which sometimes I do get involved and organize those here, and sometimes I'll jump in and just race. That's what that one's for. But when I want to go for like a long distance or even a downwinder, it's not necessarily a downwinder board because it doesn't have the hull for it, but it has worked for me in downwinders. For my paddleboard yoga, I am using my NSP Coco Mat Lotus. It's literally a floating yoga mat. It's amazing. They just sent me the new one and it's just a dream. Super grippy. I actually did a review on it on my page and it's headstand approved. Okay. And then I have my NSP Coco Mat surfboard and that's a 810. I use that sometimes, but I'll switch it out with Surf Tech just sent me a chameleon and I'm really enjoying that. You'll see that on my board a lot, on my page recently a lot. It's the blue 11'4". That one is so universal. I'll teach on it. I've surfed it. I've snorkeled off of it. You know, I've done a little bit of long distance, not crazy long distance, but that's kind of like your all-arounder that would be a great board for anybody.
Great advice. Yeah. Any particular paddles? Do you use Surf Techs or NSPs?
I kind of like I dance around. I work with a brand called Vomo from they're out of Reno, Nevada. I do their marketing as well, and I love their carbon fiber paddles. I go between those and Quick Blade. I've got like some slingshot stuff in the mix, some old Carbonero. I kind of just figure out, okay, what conditions am I paddling? What kind of paddle do I need today? And I kind of pick off of that. But I have a Vomo paddle for literally every situation for sure.
Yeah, I love Vamo. Also, I feel like early on they had these fluorescent, every color of leash. And that was
They
brilliant.
did.
And I think it was before it was even like a thing. And now it's so in, to have the
Yeah,
bright colors. But the bright
still
colors,
going.
again, it's a piece of safety equipment that's brightly colored so you can see it, which is another thing that we need to stand out. I know.
Exactly. Yeah,
Larger
they make
paddle.
great leashes. I love their leashes.
I think those are super fun. We've been talking leashes quite a bit. I wonder if that's
Oh, good.
Peter, a leash maker.
That's
Yeah,
great.
I just think that's one of the, the U.S. decided, and I'm not anti PFDs, but I still think being attached to your floating device, being the board, is one of the most important things. In some countries, other countries have decided, they call it a leg rope in Australia, but that's the most important piece of safety equipment.
Yeah,
Both excellent things to have. But staying attached to your board, especially if you are in wind or waves, is
I
essential.
have to agree. I have seen tourists just floating out to sea with, say, a rental company puts the board on the beach. They don't know anything about the conditions. They're not really trained to, they don't know how to prone paddle and lay down and use their arms to get under the wind. These are little things that if you're renting from an instructor, or just like, hey, that rental thing looks cool, I'm just going to get into it and drop these boards off and make the cash. That's the biggest difference. When stuff goes wrong, you got to equip your customers with those skills, with the leg rope or leash or leggies. And I think they're super important here as well. We don't have a PFD law in the Cayman Islands. So yeah, that's why you might see me paddling without a PFD here, because there aren't laws, but I do have them within my business. And yeah, people need them, but I won't let them go out without a leash. That's like, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, and that's definitely still a discussed item all in different parts of the world. And I'm in a group in the U.S. that, of course, it's the Coast Guard law, so we want to do it because it's not just because it's the law, but there's some people who definitely, if they don't see both pieces, are like, we can't use that picture, but they need to be more, I think, understanding that, about the knowledge in different places, the decisions that different places in the world have made about that, and keep having discussions about it. I still would love to continue to adapt that equipment and make it work better for us in stand up, because we adapted it from surf and from canoe and kayak, and lucky it was already there and we could merge it into our still young sport, even though you and I have been loving it for, like you said, over a decade.
Long time, girl.
But yeah, good stuff, and good things to keep talking about, and hopefully companies are listening, and people like you who work with lots of companies. I think it makes all the difference that they're getting feedback from those who use it all the time. So you've been to Canada. You've also been, besides just traveling around, in a lot of magazines. So talk about have you reached out? Have they reached out to you because they saw your amazing pictures? Is it more written?
No,
is it more visual content?
It's just funny because I just do what I do, and I'll go out, and there's so much talent here regarding photography, videography, coming up here on the island. And I'm just fortunate enough to be able to collaborate with these people. And, I'll post a picture just to inspire people to get on the water. That's what I want. Get on the water, enjoy it. No, you don't have to be a pro. And then I just tag the companies, and sometimes they'll reach out and say, hey, we really like what you're doing. Can you write an article for us? Hey, can we use this picture for the cover? Sure. And then that's where the brand, affiliations and such start to happen. And then once, other companies see what you're doing, then you get reached out to by, for example, a leash company or a PFD company. Hey, can you use our product? And you just start to, end up in these publications. So I'm fine with it, because I just want to spread the gospel of paddling. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's exactly what you're doing. So thank you for all that you do in that direction. And it's not just, even though those are great, like Stand Up Journal that you've been in and our stand up magazines, but you've been in Forbes. Was that
twice?
Yeah, twice in Forbes. That's awesome. That's absolutely fantastic. But that's so good. I mean, people still don't all know what stand up paddling is. They don't know the many, many avenues that you can take, and you do so many of them, from the travel and the yoga and the fitness, the racing you said you even do sometimes. There's just so many ways to enjoy it. It's really, I'm a big evangelist about it too, because it's the most simple watercraft that you can take with you and use on any water.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It really, really is.
Good. Well, and I want to mention, as you talk about exposure and everything, you've been upfront about the fact, we want this to be an inclusive, diverse, everybody can do it, you already said, and you serve a role there, and especially for young ladies. You want to talk about that?
Yes. So growing up, you might have heard me say this before, but we weren't really outdoorsy. We weren't on the water. We weren't the family that was, able to be at the beach all the time, even though my mom did a great job, because I did get to the beach. So, not everybody's able to do that. And there's a stereotype around the Black community. Oh, you guys can't swim. You don't like the water. You're not. Well, we unfortunately, not everybody's privileged enough to get swim lessons or hang out at the ocean and do that stuff every weekend, or even like go on a camping trip or whatever. And that's what I'm doing here. I just want to show people, hey, we can do it. Everybody can do this, and it's just nice to have that representation of, if you're a little girl and you're just like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. I don't see anybody that looks like me doing that. And a lot of people don't have to think about this kind of stuff. I actually had a great conversation with somebody in Canmore a couple days ago about it. And she's like, wow, I never really thought about it like that. Seeing somebody that looks like me doing an activity. And that is super inspiring. And whatever I can do to get you out on the water, that's what I'm going to do.
Well,
Definitely.
fantastic, inspiring all around for all. But yeah, the certain demographic that you're representing is just fantastic. And there is such a history, and I had to have it pointed out to myself. I never really thought about in my lifetime that swimming pools were closed to
Yeah.
certain demographics, and you couldn't even get to the swimming lessons even if you had the money, because you weren't allowed in that pool.
Exactly.
So, and boathouses,
Exactly.
the same thing. So there's been such a closure. So we have to really work on the access and the exposure.
We're
And
busting it out, girl. We're kicking the doors down. Absolutely.
well, good for you for doing that. That's absolutely fantastic. So, what about the business side of things? I mean, you did it in a new place. I knew you'd been there a
Yeah.
little while before you opened it, but just all that goes into, we've talked about the water part of it and the piece that you love, but
Like,
and you did work in a company, so you had a corporate life background, but whoa,
yeah,
there's a lot to do
it's a lot.
to have a business.
It's a lot to do. Setting up a business in a foreign country it's not for the weak, okay? Because when you're in that country, you've got to obviously abide by those laws, and you've got paperwork, licensing, and all kinds of things to figure out, insurance, and those certifications to back that, so the company or the government will even license you. So I got all that stuff into place, and I remember I was just sitting in my old business partner's office, and I had this sheet of paper. I'm going to start a company. I need to figure it out. And I just wrote all these names down. What do I want it to be like? I know I want to be paddling. I know I want to be teaching. And then I just wrote vitamin C amongst this whole list. And that was the one that stuck out. And then I just took that and I made the website in 2 hours. And
Wow.
I was like, we're ready to go. Okay. And yeah, so from there I took that, and then I went and I got all the licensing and everything, and luckily I was able to piggyback off of our water sports license that we already had, which was helped me start a little bit sooner. But I got my own license and everything, and then you just start the marketing, the Instagram, the photos, the hey, tag me if you take my class, write a review on TripAdvisor. There is so much that goes into a business, the marketing, the actual classes, the administrative side, when you get home, responding to client emails, making sure they know where your classes are, because even though you might write something as clear as day, not everybody's going to understand it. So if you're starting a sub business, just like I like to call it, I like to say, dumb it down a little. I know it's awful, but make it really, really simple so people can understand, and just always be available, but set the boundaries, because sometimes people want a message 2 a.m. Hey, can I get into the 7 a.m. class? What are you doing at 2 a.m.? Are you messaging me from the bar? Like, what's going on? So yeah, there's just so many aspects of being the face, being the admin, the finance, the marketing, everything. But it brings me so much joy. I love being able to do this every day. Definitely. Create the life you want to live, like they say, right?
Yeah, and you really did that. Let's get back to that. So, going from being mortgage bank, Orlando, you found paddling, but you were
Yeah.
in a corporate job, and you made this leap of faith to go to the islands that you had visited and knew you loved and made connections. Um, that takes a certain personality. You obviously have a bunch of energy, or you wouldn't have your own business.
It's
And doing.
hard, you guys.
Yeah.
It's hard to do. Like, a lot of people find excuses not to follow their dreams. And I really feel like it's so important to just take the leap. all that can happen is, okay, if it doesn't go wrong, you can always go back. Or if it doesn't go right, you can always go back to the life you lived before. But you're always going to be wondering, oh man, I should have moved. I should have like found myself in this tropical island. And it took for the point for me how I knew I wanted to be here. It was probably the fourth or fifth time I flew here. And I flew back to Tampa and I had this feeling in my gut. I was sitting on the tarmac about to deplane and I was like, I don't want to live here anymore. I need to move. And I just felt it like in my body, like this response. And from there, that the next trip to Cayman was, okay, I now need to sort out where I'm going to work. What am I going to do? And being in the mortgage industry, everybody knows Cayman Islands is like the big finance fraud. You know, you've seen like the firm with what's his name? Tom, I almost said Tom Hanks. It's the wrong one. Top Gun. Him. Anyhow, basically, it's known as a big financial hub. I was not able to get a job with all that experience, 8 years of experience in the mortgage industry. And I was like, all right, it's time to regroup. Because at that time I was in Orlando, getting in the water scene, starting to help a surf shop that had just opened up with their buying and stuff. So I was like kind of weaving and bobbing within. And yeah, I was like, okay, I got to do this somewhere else now. So I packed everything up. I put everything in a storage container, a 10 by 10. And I just took maybe 2 suitcases, 2 plastic bins, and I had my little wiener dog at the time. She had to quarantine for 6 months. My girlfriend Selena held on to her, and then my buddy Sean brought her down. And I've been here for 10 and a half years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you didn't even have that job, but how great. I mean, sometimes things
So
are meant to be
basically,
that you didn't get the
with
finance
the,
job.
the finance job, I couldn't get. I was like, I couldn't get it. Hey, Jenny. But anyhow, like I was really like, okay, it's time to just shift directions. We got to do something else. You have a lot of retail experience. You love the surf industry. You love paddling. It's time. So I got certified and made sure I was certified before I came down. And I got a job at the surf shop. And that lasted for probably about three and a half years. And then I started my company. So fun.
Yeah. Well, you've given great advice about following your dreams and really just doing it. But did you have a pretty supportive community and family, or did they kind of, were worried about you?
Well, they were supportive, and they know I've always been the traveler, like free spirit of the family. And basically, they're like, Kirsten, you're going to do what you're going to do. We're obviously worried and concerned about you. I would just keep in contact with them. They could always see what I was doing. And they were so supportive, and I appreciate that so much. Do they want me to move back to Maryland, Virginia? Yes. Am I? Most likely not. It's just, I don't know, the lifestyle here, it's my vibe. And every time I go back home, I'm like, okay, this is cool, but I need to go back to my island for sure.
An island girl. Absolutely love it. Well, what an amazing story you have. And you've given us already some tips about life and making change and about setting up a business. But how about just some basic tips about SUP while traveling, or when you go to a destination to stand up paddle? What are some tips about how to go about that?
Okay, so if you are looking, let's just use my trip last week as an example. So if you're looking to go on a paddle trip, or maybe just a regular holiday and sprinkle a little paddle on while you're there, first thing I did was I Googled the area. Obviously, everybody knows Lake Louise, so that was like pretty easy. But I Googled the area and I found the shops. I needed to know what shops are around and who's the most reputable shop that knows what they're talking about. And you can go on the Instagrams and you can pretty much tell if you've been in the industry. And for me, when I went up to the Canmore area, I immediately was like, I'm going to Bow Valley Shop. I think they were just nominated. Actually, great team, really great. I go in, I kick my shoes up and put the feet up on the couch, and I just hang out with the guys there. And we had great conversations. And I'm like, when's the SUP yoga class? It was on the Friday night, unfortunately, during the wedding I was there for, so I couldn't go. but find the shop that you want to work with and that has great equipment that you can rent. From there, they will give you all the information, the safe places to paddle. Sometimes they do community paddle. You could join a group if you're not super confident about it. Me, I'm an independent girl. I do the research and I figure out if it's okay for me to put in wherever, that lake is. In Canada, you have to self-certify before you go on the water. So you fill out a little piece of paper. Just look up the laws as well. Is there a PFD law? Is there a leash law? What kind of board am I going to need for where I'm paddling? Am I paddling a river? Am I doing paddleboard yoga? Am I here for a race? You know what I mean? So these are things that you'll need to research. And if you don't know, those shops, that's why they're there. They're so excited to get people out and help you do it in a safe way and have fun at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, excellent advice. So you tend to go and find the shop and get the equipment there. Do you ever travel with a board? Do you do the inflatable thing?
So I haven't yet. I actually was chatting to Surf Tech about getting that Pura Vida inflatable that they make. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous board. If I go and paddle Grand Canyon, I want to do it on that one. I do have friends that will, take an inflatable and they'll check it. Good luck these days with checking your luggage, everybody. But yeah, traveling with an inflatable. Great idea. Great idea. The van that I rented this last week, it had an inflatable. So I was able to just hop out wherever I was, pump it up, and off we go. So yeah, those are things you want to look at as well.
That is amazing. I've not heard that yet, that a van, actually. I know boats sometimes have the boards.
This company.
But to rent a van and had a paddleboard, woo.
Yeah, you could request it for an additional fee a day, and they came with the PFD, adjustable paddle, and everything. And yeah, it did its job for sure.
Yeah, cool. I have traveled with boards, and just like I did racing in St. Croix. Used to have an amazing event, 3-day event.
Wow.
And it was so much easier because I chucked it as a piece of luggage. Yes, right now we have some issues going on, but in general, they just take it as a piece of luggage. I've also, not as easy as traveling with 14-foot race boards, but you can sometimes. But
yeah, it's a little tough.
that one's much harder on many levels. So yeah, I would definitely jump into that one. So we didn't talk too much about your other water sports, but stand-up paddling definitely has led people in a lot of directions, and we have foiling and winging and all these different things, and you live in an area that's a kiteboard capital. So have you tried some of those? Do you want to? Is there any other type of stand-up you have done? Yeah.
So stand-up, obviously, yes, it is such a gateway to the water. And working in the kite shop, I was like, look, I can't come in here and sell kite gear and lessons without kiting, because that's just not how I operate. I'm not going to be able to fully sell it. So back in, I would say 2012-ish, when I first started working at the shop, I was like, I got to learn to kite surf. So I called up the guys at Kite Surf Cayman, and they have an affiliation with the shop. And I did my first lesson. I was able to stand up for maybe like 2 seconds at the very end of the 2-hour lesson. But wow, what a sport. And then I took about maybe 3 more lessons before I was riding on my own. And yeah, I love it. Kiting is magical. It's really, really cool. It's not easy. I'm not going to lead you on and say it's the easiest sport ever. You can see there's videos of me holding a GoPro while I'm riding. Guess what? I'm just praying I don't drop that, okay? Because I have before. But yeah, if the wind's hitting right, I usually kite up at Barker's Beach, and it's a great, great time depending on, the wind conditions. If you got really light wind, you'll see the foil community here has started to get a little bit bigger. We've got a guy here, Carlos, he's winging all over the place. The wings are starting. I actually tried an e-foil for the first time, maybe a month or 2 ago. Whew, that was hard. I kind of got it by the end, but yeah, it's I need a few more goes for sure.
Well, it's interesting to switch back and forth. My understanding is I have not tried it, but that it's different. It's different where it's all about balance again, but it's where you get your weight, and it doesn't necessarily translate directly.
That's what happens to the board. It goes right up, and then you go right up too.
Stay loose, somebody told me, is one of the keys.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite part of stand-up paddleboarding? Can you say there's a favorite aspect to it?
Oh, my favorite part. I mean, I'll share as like a regular paddler, but as a regular paddler, like on the water, just experiencing the outdoors. That for me is my favorite part, is getting the board under my feet and everything just goes away. If I've had a bad day or whatever, I leave it all out on the water. As an instructor, my favorite part is seeing my clients' growth. I have to tell you, it's like you see me, I'm getting excited. It just brings me so much joy seeing them go from, oh, I can't do this. I don't know. They show up with so much fear, so much anxiety when they come to a class. And even if it's like a private intro to paddle or whatever, there's so much fear. And they've set themselves up before they've even hit the water. I'm like, well, we're just paddleboarding. It's not open heart surgery. I would want you to be this anxious if it was, but seeing them go from that really scared paddler to super confident, strong. Hey, I'm going to do that downwinder with you. Hey, I'm going to do that arm balance now. It lights me up. That's why I do what I do. I want them to just grow, and seeing them build that confidence is what does it for me. 1,000%.
Fantastic. Yeah, great stuff. Well, thank you so much for sharing everything about the amazing life that you've created for yourself down there and your business and all the travels. Remember, everyone, you need to follow It's Kiristen. And I love your name. I meant to ask about that because I'm Kristen, very close.
Kirsten,
the
yes.
letter difference,
Thanks,
but it's
Mom,
really
the
cool. Good job, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, I don't
Does
know
it
what
have
they're
a story?
thinking about. I heard I was named after some sort of ballet dancer or something, but I don't know. And yeah, you said it right, Kirsten.
I haven't met anyone with that name, there's definitely many variations of our name. So very, very cool, yours. But you can find her two Instagram accounts, and Vitamin C came on.
Amen. Yes.
Is also one. Wonderful pictures. And if you ever visit the islands, she's the shop to go. She's the person to go
That's
to,
me.
right? For all of your stand-up paddle needs. Excited to continue to follow you and see your journeys and see where things go, and see those amazing photographs and video and all that you post. Beautiful stuff.
Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful
Thank you
human.
so
It's been a long
much.
time, but I don't get to trade shows anymore, but I hope to see you somewhere.
I need to
back
come
out.
see you. Colorado? Let's go.
Yeah, Colorado. Come
I
back
love
out to that
Colorado.
Dana
You
Point
know
parking
what?
lot.
We have a direct flight now to Denver.
Oh, wow, that's good. Because we tend in California in the west to go south to Mexico, where the east all goes right down to the
Mexico's
islands.
lovely. Yeah, we just also opened up an LAX flight. So my friends in California,
Okay,
let's go. Come on.
I'll tell Rob Rojas. Although you said he already comes.
I need to call him actually. Thank you
I'll tell him
so
he should have
much.
been on here talking to us.
Pleasure.
But thank you so much. Thank you,
An
everybody
honor,
who's listening.
honestly.
What's that?
I said an honor and a pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. And thank you, SubConnect, for letting me do this and talk to great people like Kirsten. It does go immediately to IGTV, and then it will get recorded and put on their YouTube channel and mine, KT Outside. We also have a group on Facebook, so feel free to jump in there, and that lets you know who's up next, and also links to the recording so you can tell your friends who missed it. But thank you, everyone who joined us. Great to see you and interact with you, and fun to recognize so many people that we know, but also all you new people to SubConnect. Come back every Thursday, 1 o'clock Pacific time. And thanks again, Kirsten. Take care.
Thank
Be well.
you. Big love. See you soon.
Okay. Ciao.
Bye.